Gonna get married. It's the Ronettes. Welcome to Global 311. Culture from the point of view of an anthropologist today. And we're playing, showing the example we're going to get married by the Ronettes. Because one of the big cultural things that we're going to study today is the idea of Indian society and how it relates to Hinduism in the past. Let's get this music turned down. Yeah, some old school. What is that? It's got to be some early 60s, late 50s. The Ronettes. So nice. A little old school does the body good. Makes you feel refreshed. I like a little 50s, 60s music every once in a while. Kind of the roots, right? The roots of rock and roll. Anthropologically speaking, Hindi culture is interesting. Let's focus on some more innocuous things right now. Let's take a look at the significance and importance of the cow, for instance. Right? Cows, this is trying to clarify some things that we might come across here in American culture, or myths, rumors, stereotypes, stuff like that, try and clear the air with it. So the cows are a sacred animal. Nothing like being reincarnated as a cow in Hindi culture, because cows, like, they're chill, right? They are sacred. And the cow is sacred because, of course, the cow is the producer of things that our body needs to live, right? This is a milk producer. Ooh. Right? And it's symbolic of food supply and health. And so strangely, of course, if the cow is sacred, we're in no rush to kill cows to eat them. Perhaps like here in the United States, that's a little different. We view cows as this great source of food supply also. But in the Hindi culture, cows are to be protected because, of course, they only produce milk when they're alive. Okay, and therefore cows were like way up high in the pecking order of animals that you could be reincarnated as. Of course, the cows were like so chill. I mean, think about the life of a cow. It's sort of like sitting on a couch and eating Doritos all day, right? I mean, like, what's wrong with that? Cows just stand out in the field, all relaxed, harmless creatures. They consume the grass and they produce, a product that can feed all and keep everyone healthy and keep them, fed. So what's wrong with the cow? Nothing in the Hindi religion. Number two, eating with your hands. Now we might go, well, that's kind of gross. I mean, we do eat some food with our hands. Like you never want to see somebody dig into chicken wings. I got sauce and barbecue sauce all over their face and everything, right? But in Hindi culture, eating with your hands, totally acceptable. Obviously, in our Western European sort of culture that's transferred in the United States, we use silverware a lot, okay? But eating with your hands was viewed as totally acceptable, dating back into the early Vedic scriptures. You'd eat with your hands because there was a cleansing process, right? It basically forced you to wash your hands first. Because if you did not wash your hands, then you could become sick. And so it really forced the idea of having to wash yourself and having to wash your hands. So there was a purification and a cleanliness process there. Further, you could literally feel the temperature of your food and prevent injury. Too hot, too cold, right? And you can actually feel the temperature of the food and whether the food was cooked properly or not. I'll put feel in quotation marks. You can actually feel the temperature of the food. Now, I'm going to teach you a little trick. One of my best friends went to culinary school, and he taught me this trick. When you're making meat, if you're cooking meat on a grill, you can feel the temperature, right? I cook with a thermometer. Some people just kind of like put on a timer, or they guess. Some people actually cut into the meat to see whether it's cooked. He taught me this trick. You can feel the temperature. If you feel this part of your hand, do this right now. Squeeze right here. bloody red rare, not cooked at all, right? If your steak or pork feels like this, or chicken feels like this, it's not cooked at all. If you touch these two fingers together, make the okay sign, now it is very undercooked. It has been cooked, but it's extremely undercooked. Now we put these two fingers together, right? This is what, your middle finger and your thumb. Now feel, that is medium rare. When you get a steak that feels like that, it's rare. I'm sorry, not medium rare. It's a rare steak. Probably could be cooked a little longer. Then we go out another finger, medium. When your steak, chicken, or pork feels like that, it is medium cooked. And I'm just still squeezing that same spot just above my thumb, in between my pointer finger and my thumb. And that's what a medium steak would feel like. And if I touch my thumb with my pinky and I feel that, that's well done. That's a well done burger. And you can use this method. You can actually feel the temperature. So being able to eat with your hands and actually like manipulate your food, there is sort of a benefit of that when we eat with knife and fork, we miss out on. So eating with your hands forces you to wash your hands first. You can literally feel the temperature. Keep probably a little safety measure there to make sure that the meat is cooked appropriately and that you're not going to get sick and that it's not going to be too hot or too cold. All right, so there's that stuff. And then here's the one that we really want to focus on. In Hindi culture, because of the caste system, marriages were arranged. Now, to us here in the United States in 2021, this probably sounds horrible. We're going to watch a really cute little video made by some Indians that have experienced this firsthand. Probably watch that video as a lesson tomorrow or next on the agenda. An arranged marriage probably sounds horrible to us. Our parents are going to go out and find a suitor. Right, so your parents find your life partner, a suitor, if you will. And the idea was that this would keep your son or daughter, particularly your daughter, right? It would keep them in the caste that they were born into. And that, of course, was very important in this caste system, this social hierarchy that we learned about, where you had Brahmin, and then the one that I have a hard time pronouncing, which is Kshatriya. And then you've got the Vaishya, or the Vaishya, depending on how you want to pronounce that. And then the way down at the bottom, we have the Shudras. And of course, almost off the pyramid, you have these untouchables, and no one could hang out with them. And you really have to marry within your caste. It's part of your dharma, right? It's part of your purpose, and your life purpose is to achieve that dharma. And marrying within your caste and not trying to reach beyond what you've been asked to do in this life, or what you've been asked to do as far as like achieving your dharma goes, is very important in the Hindi religion, of course. And so your parents identified a suitor. They demand that, of course, you marry within your caste. So if you fall in love with somebody, a level up or down from you, well, too bad, so sad, can't marry them. Strangely, divorce rates in this system are lower than what we typically experience in non-arranged marriage situations. We could probably talk about maybe sociologically why that happens as a more complex discussion, if you remind me to do that. And let's see, our last little piece of the arranged marriages, the bride's family would actually pay a dowry. So the bride's family pays for the wedding. And sometimes it would go even beyond paying for the wedding. Sometimes it would literally be a barter. Like the bride's family would actually owe the groom's family, probably dating back into early Hindi culture, it would be like through animals, right? And like, we will give you, 5 goats and 30 hens. Totally making stuff up, right? 5 goats and 30 hens as a dowry, and we will arrange for this marriage and pay for the marriage. And of course, that would ensure that the bride landed into the proper suitor's house, right? You had to find a suitor that was willing to take the bride, and then you literally pay the dowry to have the man or the man's family take the daughter off their hands. And then literally economically, the daughter would then be like off the books, like on a one-time payment. And now you're responsible for the economics of that daughter, or now that bride, that wife, for the rest of your life, right, as a husband. And so it sort of like gets the daughter off the books, if you want to think of it like that. So that's the arranged marriage. We see that it ties in closely with this caste system, where you had to like marry within that specific caste that you were a part of. And while it might seem a little foreign to us, there are some sociological benefits that we can identify. Of course, there's some sociological things that occur that don't make this an easy process too, especially when Hindi young men and young women travel to societies that don't have a caste system. This idea of arranged marriage does sort of become more difficult in our modern society. Great. Thanks for joining me today. We'll move on tomorrow. We'll probably take a little bit closer look at that arranged marriage through the eyes of some Hindu members of society in California. It's actually kind of comical. We'll see you tomorrow.